Brought to you by Hug House Productions.
Hi, hello, listener of Nevermorphed. If you like this show, I am convinced you are going to love The Newest Olympian by Mike Schubert. Why am I so certain? Because that's one of the shows that inspired this show. Real ones who listen to the credits already know. Each week, Mike dives into the Percy Jackson series, which I love, joined by guests who are longtime fans of the Rick Riordan series. If you haven't read these books yet, this is the perfect way to get started and read along with Mike. They're so good. And like Animorphs, they're kids' books that touch on way more serious topics than you might expect. And they're about worldwide mythologies, starting with Greek and Roman. I know you gays love mythology. If you have already read the books and know how good they are, you'll love this series too. The dramatic irony, man. And if you know about the books from the Disney Plus series, Mike has done interviews and conversations with some of the cast of the show on The Newest Olympian too. Mike is a great host, a great editor, and obviously a huge inspiration for me. You can find The Newest Olympian in the show notes or wherever you get your podcasts. Go subscribe right now and enjoy. Hello and Happy New Year 2025. Given Nevermorphed is a New Year's podcast, I thought it would be nice to just come back today. I'm recording this on January 1st. Come back today and just kind of like reflect on my year in Animorphs. As I'm sure you know, the reason I started Nevermorphed was because it was kind of a commit to the bit bet of I made a jokey New Year's resolution to finally read the Animorphs books, and then Lee Pfeffer, who is the guest on episodes 1 and 2, they encouraged me to start the podcast based on this like commit to the bit, coward, and I did. So I have, in fact, accomplished my goal of reading some Animorphs books this year. I have only read up to book 10 at this point. I'm going to be scheduling book 11, probably starting tomorrow. I'll reach out to my guest. And I just wanted to say that, like, I went into this again, like, as a joke. I thought it was going to be silly and fun, which it is. But this podcast has been such a tremendous improvement on my quality of life in ways that I never could have expected. I don't think I've ever had this much fun making a podcast. Or I think I've never had this specific balance of work versus play in a podcast. Like making Valence, which was our full cast audio drama, that was so fun. And it was also, as I'm sure you can imagine, an unreal amount of work. And I'm very proud of the work that went into it, and I'm very grateful for the work that went into it. But this podcast is so much easier. It's so easy breezy. It is just a dream to make, and every single episode is truly such a joy. This podcast has brought me so much closer to people who I've always loved in the space, who, I've some of these guests I've talked to every few months or a few times a year, or some of them I've talked to daily, but the way that I engage with them on Nevermorphed is so specific, and it has brought me so much closer to so many of them. It's really just enriched these friendships in such a beautiful way. I love seeing this side of all of my guests, just see them really get to dive into something that they care so much about that has so little opportunity to be discussed at length. I love hearing the way that they analyze these books and the things that they bring out in the books that I didn't notice. I love just how much fun they're having too. It's so fulfilling. And of course, I love these books so deeply. I think about them all the time. I carry them with me in all of my political thinking, which is most of my thinking. I will genuinely relate back to these books and think about the analysis and dissection of the things that I'm thinking about to this day and how they were depicted in the books. I feel, just very enriched by having read these books, I'm so sorry if you can hear like clicking in the background. Postina's in here chewing on. What is she chewing on? Okay. So that's a problem for me in like 3 minutes. Animorphs. So I've just gained so much from this podcast. I've gained so much from the Discord community that has formed in our Patreon around this podcast. I feel like I've made some great friends through there too, and reconnected with some great friends through there too. It's just lovely. I think that this book series genuinely like kind of brings out the best in people in a lot of different ways, and in ways that I never could have predicted. My life is so improved by Animorphs. Oh my god, what is Postina getting into? Okay, I'm gonna wrap up here shortly. This has been one of the craziest years of my life. As you remember, I got my brain surgically removed earlier this year so that I could rent it out to a mouse named Juniper. I had horrific health scares like all year, and genuinely one of the most prominent highlights of this year for me, in such a very fucking difficult year for me, has been reading these books and talking about these books and putting out these episodes and being so happy and proud of the episodes that I'm putting out. So I just wanted to say thank you all for joining me on this journey. It's really been fantastic, and I'm so proud and so pleased of what Nevermorphed has become. And I just owe a lot to everybody listening who is reminding me that, like, you know, I'm not doing the thing where I'm just shouting into the void, which is what podcasting can really feel like sometimes. So if you're listening, thank you so much. It means so much to me to share this journey with anyone who will listen. So thank you, and Happy New Year, and read Animorphs. I'm gonna go see what Postina is getting into. I'll talk to y'all soon with, I guess, more Book 10 episodes, and then Book 11, which I cannot wait to start, and I do not, at present, know the name of. Okay, bye! On March 27th, 2024, Elon Musk was deposed in a libel lawsuit filed by Ben Brody. Musk's lawyer, Alex Spiro, tried to retroactively mark the deposition as confidential, but it wasn't.
Of course I can ask him, do you think you committed actual malice? Do you think you were reckless? Of course I can ask those questions.
The deposition is a new Hug House podcast reenactment of the entire deposition, word by word, in full. Taken very seriously.
Things that he did wrong.
But that's the point. That's not what you're allowed
until he really just like can't anymore.
Not what you're allowed to do in the deposition. You can't just get him talking.
The deposition drops on the 4th of July, 2024, with 4 weekly episodes. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice or find us at hughouse.productions today.